Hey y'all, SC Southern Style here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 match. This is the first match from my, let's just call it, SouthernStyle Exhibition that was held a couple of Sundays ago. This is going to be a Terran vs. Terran, with Richard, the pink Terran, in the top right, and Chickenbeard, the red Terran, in the bottom left. Probably most of you guys who are going to watch this video have seen this match. This is just going to be with a little bit of my coaching and input on the match. So Chickenbeard, going to throw down the supply depot first. That's pretty good that you want to throw that supply depot down at about the 9 supply mark, just so you can get it out as fast as possible. Richard is going to be a little bit later. You're going to see that this will allow Chickenbeard to get that barracks out quicker and allow him to get his manufacturing sooner as well. This SUV is just going to kind of sit here for a little while, and so this was the first match. The matches definitely got better as the night progressed. So this is the first match, so both players kind of getting their bearings here. Barracks go down about the same time. Chickenbeard going to go for that refinery first. One thing I want to say is, okay, let's look at so you want to keep unit production SUVs the entire time that this is going on. You want to just keep churning out SUVs basically the entire time. Both players about the same SUV count. Richard one SUV higher. So one thing that, Richard's got that full saturation on that gas. Chickenbeard only has one SCV on there. I think I did say this, you want to get that orbital command as soon as possible. Basically stop production of SUVs and just start pumping out that, or start working on that orbital command, because that's going to increase your economy so much more than a couple of SUVs will. You'll get 2 SUVs out in the time that it gets you to get that orbital, and one mule will be worth those 2 SUVs. And so it's very, very crucial that you get that out as soon as possible. It'll just boost your income. So both players working on a second barracks here. Richard going for a tech lab, Chickenbeard opting not to go for that tech lab and instead pump out a few Marines. So, still got some, still got some idle SUVs around. That's one thing you want to be on top of, is make sure that you are watching and making sure that you don't have idle SUVs in the middle of the match, because that's just basically wasted supply. Not working on any upgrades yet from Richard. He is currently supply block, giving Chickenbeard the advantage, and Chickenbeard is actually going to be throwing down another supply depot, so he will be almost a full supply ahead of Richard. So he's got a reactor going. We've finally got a tech lab from Chickenbeard with no add-on on the second barracks. Full saturation on that Vespene geyser, and about the same saturation on the geysers right now. So this is really, the map that they're on is Crossfire, which is since it's a Terran versus Terran, it's going to be a pretty even match here. Neither player, so it's basically going to be, if this goes into Siege Tank, it's going to be all about Siege Tank placement. Getting the high ground here is going to be really beneficial. If you can get your Siege Tanks up in Siege mode and basically lock down your opponent's base, it'll be a huge advantage. So looking at the supply right now, looks like Chickenbeard does have the advantage right now, and is also working on that very, very valuable stem pack upgrade. So that will be a big advantage to him if he can get that completed. Chickenbeard not really working on any upgrades right now, just working on producing units. Richard will be able to catch up in units though, as he is pumping Marines out of that reactor, so he will be able to catch up on units fairly quickly. Chickenbeard going to throw down the SUV here to spot any action here. Is he going to... So Richard needs to get up here and take care of that SUV so he doesn't get scouted anymore. And there he goes. So Chickenbeard will know that that SCV did get destroyed. So like I said, 2 idle SCVs. We got 2 idle SCVs right here, just kind of sitting there, not really doing anything. So those are basically 2 wasted supply. Now that he's got that one working on starport, needs to get a reactor down on this factory so that he can just lift it off and switch it with the starport. Richard looks like he's doing a little bit of scouting, checking to see if there's an expansion, anything like that. Gonna show on up here and pretty much get cleaned up. I don't think Chickenbeard lost a single unit there. He does have 1 Marine in the red, but that was just poor placement there by Richard. He needed to, if he was going to commit to that, he needed to move his guys up the ramp so that they could see that, and if he wasn't going to commit to that, then he needed to get out of there and not basically waste those units. So Chickenbeard feeling pretty confident right now. Going to move out a little bit, get a little bit more map control. So there's the reactor on the factory. Going to try and lift up the, should be lifting up the starport. Still hasn't seen that SCV is not working right now. Gonna do a little bit of factory starport swap here. Richard is throwing down another barracks as well as a factory. So, and here we go. Oh, missed the reactor there, but found that the SCV was in fact not working. Will Chickenbeard notice that this reactor is not hooked up to the starport? We'll see. Gonna go ahead and move out with his couple of units here. Take that watchtower, just make sure that he can see any shenanigans that may come from Richard's side. Richard got that 3rd barracks down. Gonna throw another reactor on there, so it's gonna be a pretty heavy infantry army. He's already got the Marauders slow, working on that shield right now. Still hasn't noticed that the reactor is not hooked up to the starport and is producing a medvac, not knowing that it is not producing at double rate. But we do have a tech lab on the factory. Are we going to see some siege tanks out of here? We will see. Sensor tower going down in the middle. I kind of like this play. So able to spot any drops or anything along the left side. Kind of give him, if he loses this watchtower, give him... well, it'll actually give you a little bit more knowledge than what that watchtower will give you. I believe the breadth of it is just outside of the watchtower. So if he comes around, tries to sneak around or anything like that, Chickenbeard will definitely know. But the army size is looking very kind of scary for, well, they're pretty even. Richard definitely opting for a much more marine-heavy army here. As you can see, Richard getting the starport on the reactor. Let's see if Chickenbeard has not figured out that his starport is not on the reactor yet, so still producing medevacs out of there at 1 at a time rate, while Richard is able to produce them at twice that rate. So Chickenbeard going for weapons level 1, which is going to probably be a very big help here, as well as the siege tech and stim pack. Richard working on nitro packs. I'm not quite sure. It's a little late in the game to be going Reapers. He may just be trying to kind of mix them in with his army and hope that they can do a little bit of damage, as they will do extra damage against these light units. Looks like we've got a drop coming here from Richard. He's going to load these medvacs up. I'm sure he's going to send them on their merry way. So we go 2 medvacs full of units. I think this Marauder is thinking that he's part of that. But here comes the main push of Chickenbeard. And so he's got a couple of units here. He needs to get some units into that bunker. That Marauder is going to get cleaned up real easily. So Richard going straight through the sensor there. And here we go. Those medvacs able to spot the high ground there. He needs to get units in that. There he goes. He's got a Marauder in there. He needs to get another unit in there. Got a Marine. He's got one more slot there. So these medvacs making a big difference here. He needs to use stim pack, stim pack, stim pack. He needs to stim up. If he... There he goes. A little bit late there. I think Chickenbeard is going to be able to clean this up pretty easily, along with the supporting units that are coming in. So he's able to push up into the ramp, up his ramp. Richard looks like he's going for a bunch of Marines here. Here comes the drop, though. I think he probably should have turned this around and come back home as soon as he saw those units coming. He's going to be it's basically a base race right here, and Chickenbeard has the superior force. He needs to get these siege tanks into his army. So he is able to do some economy damage here, dropping into the mineral line, and these SCVs are just going to keep doing their work until they die, and which is not too long from now. They are very, very diligent workers, very devoted to their job. Going to take out the orbital command here, which is Chickenbeard's only orbital command. So finally seeing that there is in fact a drop in his base, getting some of those SCVs out of there. But Richard's going to be able to clean this up. But Chickenbeard is also doing some damage of his own. Richard was able to get a second command center and is floating that over to the expansion over here. Going to try and set up a second base, but is losing a whole lot of forces right now. These siege tanks are just going to do a ton of damage, and these Marines are misrallied there. Going to be taking a whole lot of damage. So let's see. Oh, he's got those units all up in the medvac and needs to drop them down, or this Marine's just basically going to go to town on him. And does he realize that he's got units in there? I don't know. He may be trying to send them down here. That looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. Try and clean this up, because what he wants to do is clean up all the rest of the SCVs, or maybe he's just sending them down there just to sit there. So there goes the starport and the barracks for Richard, trying to make it over, I guess, into a little hiding spot over here. This factory is going to go down. Oh, will the upgrade finish? I don't believe the upgrade will be able to finish there. Armor is not going to finish for Richard, but their upgrades are the same right now. They both have one attack, and Richard he's got some more units in those medvacs that he needs to drop right now. He needs to get those units on the ground, but is opting to run away with a medevac and a half full of units. So Chickenbeard going to wisely go for this expansion down here. If you do find yourself in a situation where you are having to both build new bases, I would suggest taking the high yields, because that will give you more minerals than the regular expansion. You'll have a much higher income. So let's see what Richard can do with these last couple of units. These siege tanks still in the main, not really doing much there. These last couple of Marines are going to try and take out this barracks. If they can get it into the red, it will end up basically burning down. So he needs to, there you go, unload those units. He needs to get them down and start taking out these units of Chickenbeard, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. There's 3 medvacs here. He's still got a Marauder and a Marine inside that medevac that he needs to get out. That could have made a significant difference there, but instead he's going to lose both of those. He's now down to just 3 supply, having to just basically make SCVs as they come. And here comes Chickenbeard's forces. He's finally found that base. He's got his expansion now up. He's got a little bit of... So this is basically just down to the wire here, and I've got to give the advantage to Chickenbeard. I mean, Richard is down to 2 supply, Chickenbeard at 35. He's basically just going to fly his command center around. So a couple of things I saw in this match. You want to definitely make sure that you are not leaving SCVs just kind of sitting idle. This SCV trying to slowly but surely take out those rocks at 2 damage every 1.5 seconds. So this command center just hiding over here. So what I want to say is you don't want to have idle SCVs. Idle SCVs will basically count for no supply whatsoever. As you see, there's another idle SCV over here. He's just wasting a supply slot that you could use for a unit or get him to start helping your economy. Another thing is expansion. If you have enough money to expand, that means you need to expand. If you've got over 400 minerals and you're not just, and you have all of your manufacturing facilities maxed out, you need to expand. It's not going to be able to go into late game if there is no expansions. And this game is pretty much just going to kind of wind down. Richard's going to go ahead and try and get into battle cruisers, but eventually this goes on and on and on. So it works on the tech lab, but good learning first game nonetheless. He's going for fusion cores, so yes, that was the first game of the SouthernStyle Exhibition. There will hopefully be more to come, and this is SC Southern Style signing out.